Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to have a 10-minute interval. Essentially, I'm not getting paid for this, but what basically happens is, Marky asked me to do this for him, and he said, you know, in exchange, you could actually have the whole audience as your slaves, a captive. You basically have a captive audience for the whole 10 minutes. So I basically have you, and I'm basically going to do whatever I do sometimes whenever I've got time. So what basically happens here, ladies and gentlemen, is, you know, wearing this sort of attire and speaking like this, what generally happens is a lot of people here in Singapore generally think I'm either a banker or a lawyer. But you see, once I start to talk like this, everything starts to change already. Especially if I go there to the MRT station, and if I need to ask some random stranger a very simple question like, which way is the toilet, or which way is the exit B, you know, I look for someone I think I can ask a question from. So I say, oh, this person. Then I go to him and I say, excuse me sir, can I ask you a simple question? Immediately he say to me, got insurance already. I say, hey, I'm not selling insurance. Got credit card already. But you know, ladies and gentlemen, there happen to be times that I am wearing this kind of attire, and I have a tie, you know, and I am speaking with a very loud voice with this kind of accent, you know, in the middle of a hotel lobby. What generally happens is, as soon as I stop talking, everyone in the hotel lobby starts to call me to give me their order. Yes, I'm sure, ladies and gentlemen, you're all familiar with the fact that before, you know, here in Singapore, the main landmark used to be the Raffles Hotel. Now, there is a new landmark. It is actually that, you know, the hotel which has the 3 buildings and half of a hot dog on top of it. You know? The one they call MBS, right? Now, majority of the staff who are working over there, they also have this kind of accent. So there is now a new meaning for MBS. It is now called Manila Bay Sands. Pues amigas y amigos, pues la verdad es que yo soy de un país que tiene muchos problemas económicos y es por eso que tenemos que reformar la Constitución. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't really need to know what I'm saying, no? The fact of the matter is, it just sounds very sexy, no? It is, you will recognize this as the accent of this very famous tennis player, you know, the guy who does very well on the clay court all the time, whenever there is a French Open, this guy is always winning. It is a surprise whenever he does not win. This guy is also very famous for all the time on global television. He's always having a bit of a wedgie all the time. Now, you know, basically over here in Singapore, there's basically a lot of people who speak like this. Now, if I, hypothetically speaking, if I had blonde hair, blue eyes and pale skin, and I was speaking just like this, a lot of people here in Singapore generally think I'm a racist. Either that or they think I eat a lot of Vegemite. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, so there are all these different languages and accents, you know. Each of them has what you would call a stereotypical sound, right? The stereotypical sounds are what you think you're hearing when someone with a particularly distinct accent is speaking. For example, Americans kind of sound like they're always saying, wang, 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 wang. They've got this big mouth, they say, yeah, man, what's going on? Oh, that over there is the John Hancock building. Huge mouth, wang, wang, wang. Which is why I'm not surprised that the American accent is hardly used for anything operatic sounding. It just doesn't go very well. But for the case of the French people, I'm sure you've heard French a lot. Earlier the songs, there were 2 songs in French. Yeah? The case of the French, the stereotypical sound of French is the je veux, je veux, je veux, je veux, je veux. Non, je vais vous dire que je m'appelle Jean Valjean. Voulez-vous que je sois avec vous ce soir? If you are familiar with this very famous novel by Victor Hugo, the one which later became a very famous musical, later it became a movie, the one they call Les Misérables. The 2 main characters of the story, their names are also je veux, je veux, je veux, je veux. The hero of the story, his name is Jean Valjean, and his arch enemy, his name is Javert. Jean Valjean, Javert. So if you are going to have the French, you will also have people who talk like this, yeah? You will find a lot of them here in Singapore. They are working in companies like Mercedes-Benz, yeah, BMW, SAP, Deutsche Bank, yeah? There's a lot of them here, a lot of Germans here, yeah? For some reason, people are afraid of the Germans, yeah? Is it because the Germans are so efficient and humorless, yeah? Almost everything for the Germans is in 90 degrees, yeah? Except for that unfortunate salute, the one which goes 45 degrees, yeah? Sorry about that for any Germans, yeah? Yeah, but the Germans, yeah, why are people so afraid of the Germans when in fact the German language is so similar to English, yeah? I mean, if you look at it, yeah, the German language, very similar to English. Mein Hand, mein Finger, ja? Was ist das? Ist das für mich? Ja? What is that? Is that for me? It's very similar, yeah? The only difference is that the Germans, they like to put all these words together. Yeah? Like for the word for bat, they don't say bat, they say something like flying mouse. Yeah? Fledermaus, yeah? You know Richard Strauss, yeah? The Fledermaus, the opera. Yeah? Then they, yeah, I would not be surprised if the German word for a woman who just recently got married and on, you know, the bridal bed, bridal chamber, yeah? If that is the case, the German word is probably Rogenheimen. Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, today is a Sunday, okay? So if you happen to be passing by this place called Lucky Plaza, I'm pretty sure you would have heard, you know, the stereotypical sound that goes okay? The thing I don't understand, ladies and gentlemen, is why everyone thinks that the stereotypical sound of Chinese is ching chong chang. Why does everyone think that it sounded like that? Because if you go there to China, especially in Beijing, what you are going to hear is not ching chong chang. It actually sounds more like 好吃是好吃是好吃是，我也不知道为什么这么的特别好吃。哎呀，先生啊，你叫什么名字？你为什么很喜欢这两个地方？如果你发现有任何司机可疑之人物，或任何遗留在车厢的可疑物品，请通知我们的支援。So, you know, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people were telling me, hey, you know, Orion, you should have, you know, you speak these different languages, you do these different accents, you should have been an international spy. Yeah, I think I should have been an international spy. Nothing like Edward Snowden, okay? Not an international spy like him. He's a bit of a wimp, okay? I'm talking about, you know, James Bond. I really wanted to be known James Bond. But unfortunately, I come from a very poor country that cannot afford to have a spy program. So what happens is, you know, the people from my country who can change their accent or speak different languages, instead of becoming a secret agent, they end up becoming a call center agent. Okay, I think we've got our intermission. Yes? Why do you want me to do Russian accent? Вы говорите по-русски. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. My name is Orion Perez, and I've actually got a show on the 28th and the 29th, okay, of this month. It's actually the Rex Navarrete show. I'll be passing around some flyers.